We're here to get ready for the ETSU game, but hold the phone. Coach Davis says that Seth Trimble is getting closer.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast. It's the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Network, now the #1 sports podcast network there is. Thanks so much for making us your first listener watch to get this Tuesday going the right way. Special shout out to all the everydayers, the members of the Everydayers Club, our Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and of course, our insiders as well. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Coming up on today's show, Seth Trimble is getting closer and closer and closer. Coach Davis updated us on that at Monday night's Hubert Davis Live. We have our ETSU preview on the show today because Carolina playing the Buccaneers tonight. We will have our live reaction postcast afterwards, so make plans to be part of that. By the way, it is so good to be back with you. I had a great trip with my family. Thank you for letting me be away, although, of course, I kept you supplied with shows even while I was gone. But, man, I'm excited to get back and be back with you all in real time now. And so, boy, let's get after it. It is the week before Christmas. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. On Monday's AP poll refresh, Carolina moves up 2 spots to number 12 in the AP poll. Only 2 other ACC teams in right now, Duke at 3, Virginia at 23. Carolina is 20th in the net, so a little bit of differential there. 2-1 in quad 1 games, 1-0 in quad 2 and 3, and then 5-0 in quad 4. So let's dive right into this thing. Hubert Davis Live, Monday night, Coach Davis tells us that Seth Trimble is closer and closer and closer to being back for the Tar Heels in live game action. You probably, I'm assuming, saw the video from Saturday's USC Upstate game. Seth Trimble noticeably not only not wearing a cast, but not wearing nothing other than his own flesh and bone and skin. That's all you saw. That's great news. That there's not even any sort of protection, anything on there. So we already kind of were like, I saw that with my own eyes from Florida while I was hanging out with my family at Disney World. But Coach Davis said that Seth has been doing his own individual drills. And then Monday night, he let everybody know that Seth has now progressed to doing full team activities, 5-on-5 drills, all of that. Has gone from where it was no contact to now there can be contact. That doesn't mean he's going to play tonight, but it does mean that boy, is this getting closer. This is great news. So what Coach Davis says, quote, the last couple of days he's been 5-on-5 and been practicing with us. And so he's progressing. And I like the way that he is. And I like the way that he is, meaning I like the way that he is progressing. And so this is great news. No timetable given by Coach Davis. You should note in all those things he said. But that's okay. I don't know that you want to give your opponent a timetable anyway, whether that's ETSU or Ohio State or ACC teams coming up here in a couple weeks now, which is crazy to say that is just a couple of weeks away before Carolina embarks into the final 18 games of the regular season with ACC games. But just knowing, yes, Seth is not fully back yet. He's not playing, but the fact that it is progressing the way that you hope it would be progressing, that he's doing everything on his end, that his body seems to have done what you hope it would do and just heal quickly and naturally, along with help, as much medical help as he can get from Carolina's very best. And so I'm encouraged by all of that. Now, does that mean Ohio State on Saturday? Does it mean ECU? When is that? The next week? Does it mean Then Florida State is the first ACC game. I don't have the schedule rounded out in my head right now. No, if it's not Ohio State, it almost certainly wouldn't be ECU because that's just 2 days later, Monday, December 22nd. But then it's over a week till Carolina plays their next game, which is Florida State at home to start ACC play on Tuesday, December 30th. So I maybe FSU, and this is just me speculating, right? But that December 30th is 2 weeks from today. That seems to make a lot of sense to me. I'm out here to speculate. That's my job, is to my educated guess tells me this. And so if I had to say one today, I'd say FSU, but we got no official designation or word from Hubert Davis on it. So obviously take what I say with a grain of salt here, but it ain't nothing. Now, what does this mean for Carolina as a team? Well, if you're a guy trying to prove yourself and get some minutes, that means that you don't have many opportunities to do so before Seth is back, and he gobbles those minutes right back up. So positionally specific, whether you're Derek Dixon, Jonathan Powell, Jaydon Young, trying to carve out some more minutes for yourself. Today against ETSU, Saturday down in Atlanta against Ohio State, that next Monday, what is that, 5 days from now, 6 days from now against ECU. Those are your last probably 3 opportunities to prove how many minutes you need. Now, I think critically, Derek Dixon has already done so. Jonathan Powell has already done so, especially when you think about what he added Saturday against USC Upstate. Those are the 2 guys that I think really, really factor in now. And when Seth gets back, that gives you that solid 8-man rotation that we've been talking about. Of course, the vast majority of it is anchored into the backcourt and at the wing. But the minutes that Derek Dixon has earned aren't going to be eaten up by Seth. That's continuing to find his balance with Kyan Evans. And so it's more for the minutes at the 2 and 3 spot with shooting guard and small forward. So between Seth, Jonathan Powell, Luka, that and Jarin Stevenson, it's all kind of those minutes that I'm very curious to see what all the factors are at play there. But again, if you're these guys trying to make an impression on the staff so you can lock in some minutes even when Seth comes back, this is the week to do it. Over the course, you got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You got 3 games in 7 days before Christmas to prove that I belong and I need minutes even when Seth is back. And then the depth is, how often have we said, basically when Seth comes back, that means everybody else gets to shift down one spot in the depth chart, basically. And that's good news for the Tar Heels to build and build and build. Now, a quick word. Well, no, you know what? I'll save that for just a little bit. I wanted to say something about ETSU, but I'll wait till we're actually doing more of the preview there. So Seth coming back, great news. It means it's crunch time for the guys that want those minutes. And it means that the whole rotation is now even more formed. And also, obviously, we're just talking there about other backcourt players. What does it mean for Jaydon High? What does it mean for James Brown and how they factor in? Does Jarin Stevenson slide over? And, I know he's not a natural 4 or 5, but does he now slide over and take more specific front court minutes instead of as much time at the 3? All of that is in play right now, and I'm very curious to see what it is. But the big news, the encouraging news, the yay, hurrah, Seth Trimble, closer and closer and closer. And he is champing at the bit, and the coaching staff is not going to rush it. They're not going to do anything to jeopardize either Seth or the team's long-term success. So only until such a time as the medical professionals clear Seth and it's ready to go, unleash the hounds. And at that point, boom, let's go. All right, it's time to get to our Four Corners preview for this game. Biggest thing right out of the gate, you got to forget Saturday's sleepy exam week game and flush it and move on. We'll start with that and 3 others coming up in just a second. But first, let me tell you about Omaha Steaks. Y'all, the holidays are here, and whether you're hosting family, planning the perfect gift, or you're just trying to keep things simple and delicious, Omaha Steaks is making it easier than ever. From effortless holiday entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience straight to your door. And what makes it even better? Well, with Omaha Steaks, you always know exactly what you're getting. USDA certified tender steaks, premium proteins, gourmet sides, and decadent desserts that make anyone feel appreciated. My wife and I just recently received an Omaha Steaks box from my in-laws, and we're already making plans to use the fillets that came with it for our Christmas Eve meal. Cannot wait. I love how easy it is to gift Omaha Steaks. It shows up frozen, packed beautifully, ready to cook, and they're perfectly aged. They're insanely tender, restaurant level, right there at home. It's becoming one of my favorite gift opportunities at Christmas because it feels thoughtful, but it also doesn't require a ton of stress. You just order it and boom, let's eat meat, right? Save big on gourmet gifts and holiday favorites this season with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, and for an extra $35 off, use code COLLEGE at checkout. Terms apply. See the website for details. Again, that's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Thanks for making Locked On Tar Heels your first listener watch of the day, and Locked On Network, the #1 sports podcast network. And by the way, you already live your team every day. Now you can take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the brand new Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Tar Heels with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedontarheels.supercast.com or check out the link in the show notes below. Let's get to the Four Corners preview. Carolina ETSU. Right out of the gate, I know we are all disappointed and wish Saturday had been a more fluid result. I'm just hanging out in Disney World getting angry text messages from people wondering why Carolina is not up by 57 points. Like it just was what it was. And sometimes that happens at the end of exam week, right? We talked about it on Friday's preview of the game. It shouldn't happen. You got to be locked in. You got to be dialed in. That's why you play like a opponent in a game like that. But it happens sometimes. You won the basketball game by almost 20 points. Fine, whatever. But point number one, you got to flush Saturday and move on into tonight's game. Because good grief, you guys, like this is an opponent that if you mess around, they could really keep it close. We'll talk more about that in segment 3, but ETSU is not the pushover that some of these other bye games are. And, I can't imagine if you had had to go into sleepy mode from the break that it's going to be from ECU into the Florida State game. Thankfully, you turn around and 3 or 4 days later, you get to play again. And so tonight in the Smith Center, I expect a refocused, disciplined, locked-in effort from the Tar Heels. That's what I expect to see in this one. Because, they all feel this like, whatever. We won the game, but it was blah. We're ready to play a better opponent. This is a better opponent. You might not realize it or think it or get it or understand it, but I promise you ETSU is a step up in competition from USC Upstate. So I think they will have the Tar Heels' attention, but you got to flush Saturday and move on. Point number 2. It's a very interesting strength on strength opportunity in this game. Something that we've identified and talked about a lot on the show this year is that North Carolina is elite in 2-point defense this season. As we record, they are allowing opponents to shoot 40.3% from 2. How good is that, you ask? Great and wise question. It's 3rd in the nation. Holy smokes. ETSU, on the other hand, is 25th in the nation in 2-point field goal percentage offense at 59.8. So essentially, ETSU shoots 60% from 2, which is 25th in the nation. Carolina forces their opponents to shoot 20 percentage points less than that at 40%. Which strength is going to win out? Is it going to meet somewhere in the middle at 50%? or is it going to move more towards ETSU 60 or more towards Carolina's 40? Whoever can win that tug of war is going to have a leg up in this basketball game. So you're looking for hopefully ETSU to shoot from 2-point land in a percentage 40 to 45%. If Carolina can do that, they're going to win this basketball game handily. They probably still win the basketball game if ETSU can get it up to 50%, 55% from 2. It just wouldn't be as handily. So that's a critical thing. Watch for how Carolina can do in that. And if you're looking for individual guys, let me give you some names. It's all about Carolina shutting down Cam Morris, Brian Taylor, and Blake Barkley. Why those 3 guys? Well, they are ETSU's 3 leading scorers, the only 3 players who are averaging double figures in points. But also, they are each shooting over 62% from inside the arc. So your 3 biggest scorers are also 3 dudes that are all making almost 2 out of every 3 shots from 2. Just shy of that, basically, right? Carolina's got to lock down and lock in right there. So that's a key for this game that I'm watching for. Point number 3 in the Four Corners preview. ETSU doesn't get to the free throw line a bunch, and Carolina needs to make that continue to happen. They are 315th nationally in free throw attempts a game out of 365 teams. So, bottom 50 basically in that metric. But it's odd. A lot of times when that happens, I'm immediately looking, okay, how many threes do you attempt a game? And it's kind of strange because ETSU's not out here relying on the 3. 31% of their points come from beyond the arc. Not a massive number in today's game. Just 16% of their points come from free throws. Again, because they know where their bread is buttered, over 50% of their points come from 2. So it's kind of odd there. They're 133rd nationally in 3-point attempts per game. So it's an odd mashup of numbers for them. But here's the other side of it. Not only does ETSU not get to the free throw line very much, Carolina, you might not have realized this, is elite at not allowing opponents to get to the free throw line, basically defending without fouling a ton. Part of why Carolina hasn't allowed an opponent to get to 75 points this year. They're allowing just 14.5 free throw attempts a game, which is good for 14th nationally. Incredible stuff by Carolina's defense, and they got to do it against this team that doesn't go to the free throw line. Of course, watch the way sports works all the time, because ETSU doesn't go often and Carolina doesn't allow it often, means ETSU is going to attempt 40 free throws tonight, right? That's the frustrating thing of sports. Point number 4 in our Four Corners preview of this game. Broken record time from Isaac. Carolina is going to have a massive size advantage, but I bring it up because it's worse than usual. Literally no one in ETSU's rotation is taller than 6'8". Yes, you heard me right. 6'8" is the tallest player in ETSU's rotation. They've got multiple 6'8" players in their rotation, but no one's taller than that. So Carolina will have a less than typical height advantage at the 3, because usually Jarin Stevenson at 6'10" towers over whatever 6'4", 6'5" player he's guarding. So ETSU goes 6'8", 6'8", 6'8" across their front line. So Jarin's got it a little bit more. And it's there for Caleb to match up with a 6'8" guy. But then Henri is the big beneficiary with his 7 foot going up against 6'8". Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And even in their reserves, 6'4", one of their key guards who was a preseason SoCon Player of the Year is 5'11". Another guy coming off the bench is a 4th 6'8" guy in their rotation. So they do have some size, but Carolina is going to outsize them and has to continue to take advantage of it. How does that translate? The guys that have been doing it at every game got to keep doing it in this game. Caleb Wilson, Henri Veesaar, we're looking at y'all. Make it happen tonight. Let's get another pair of double-doubles. Why don't we go for a pair of 2010 double-doubles tonight? I would like to see that. Please and thank you. All right, we got to talk ETSU, get to know them better, some predictions for this game, and also, chiefly, what I want to talk about, This is a probable NCAA tournament team Carolina is about to face off with, so it's an important game. We'll discuss it in just a second. Right after I tell you about game time, the World Cup is coming back to North Carolina for the first time since 1994, and with 48 teams, it's going to be bigger than ever. But let's be honest, getting tickets to this event is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is coming in clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging tickets. So instead of it feeling impossible to get oh my goodness, I looked up some of the ticket prices, like just standard, gross. Hopefully Game Time is going to be able to bring those down so you can make it realistic to get tickets instead of impossible. You pull up the app, the layout makes it so simple to read, to scroll through matchups, compare seat views, and decide on what you want. Pick a game, tap a section, have your tickets locked in within minutes. There's no confusion, no hunting for the fine print. You can set up alerts for specific teams. That way it drops the moment those go on the app, and then you can buy the tickets. It's great. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, every concert, every event with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Tickets for tonight's game against ETSU on Game Time as cheap as $14. Go, come on, man. What are we doing? Go to this game. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Terms apply. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. ETSU coming to the Smith Center tonight, and here's what you need to know. This is actually an important opportunity to be focused in on because this is a highly likely, a highly probable NCAA tournament team. Here's why I say that. As things stand right now, ETSU was picked 4th in the SoCon preseason poll out of the 10 teams in the SoCon. But where we're at right now, they're the highest rated SoCon team in the net, at KenPom, at Torvik. All three of those. ETSU is your highest rated team in this conference. Does that mean they're going to win the conference tournament and get the automatic NCAA tournament bid? Absolutely not. But right now, the best probability out of the SoCon is that ETSU is your team going dancing. And so that makes this, of the bye games Carolina has played, the biggest test so far of the bye games. So by that, Carolina has played 10 games so far. If you take the highest games you've played, we're not counting any of those, just the bye games. And so, if we pull it up and talk about it, I'm not factoring in Georgetown, St. Bonaventure, Kentucky, Michigan State, or Kansas. Those 5 games, obviously not bye games. The others, Carolina has played so far: Central Arkansas, Radford, NC Central, Navy, USC, Upstate. Of those, USC Upstate is actually the best in terms of net rating at 197. The others are all outside the top 200. But this team, this ETSU team, is built a little bit different as things go right now. Remember, I said USC Upstate is the highest rated bye game Carolina's played at 197 in the net. Well, ETSU, as they sit here right now, is 100. And they were like 98th just a day or two ago. So they were in the top 100. Here's the best way I can put it to you of this team being better. When you think these games, they're right now ranked in the net above Georgetown. So this, at least on paper, is a more important game than Georgetown. They are more closely ranked to St. Bonaventure. St. Bonaventure right now is 98 at the net. And again, ETSU is 100 in the net. Than they are to any of the other 5 bye games. So I know when we think about this game tonight, we're going to think about it in the box of the bye games. But when you think about it in terms of ratings and analytics and stuff, it's more akin to St. Bonaventure and what that game did for Carolina. So you mess around. That's why I said earlier, you mess around and this team could not only keep up with you, they could beat you, man. Whereas the rest of the bye games are quad 4, this is a quad 3 opportunity for Carolina. And it's closer to being a quad 2 opportunity than a quad 4 opportunity. That's where ETSU sitting at. So don't come into this game tonight being like, oh, Carolina's about to blow the doors off this thing. They could. They absolutely could. But it is not a guarantee. And as I often remind us all, I got to keep reminding myself, not all mid-majors are created equally. And this is one that is not created equally. It is a more highly rated. So keep in mind, very good team, at least for right now, a strong possibility that this is an NCAA tournament team. So what a good opportunity for Carolina to play the type of team they would probably play in the first round of this year's NCAA tournament. And it's not just this year with ETSU. They have a history. They, as a program, have made it the NCAA tournament 5 times in the 2000s already. That's impressive. This could be number 6. All right, so let's get set up and ready for the game just a little bit here. UNC ETSU tonight in the Dean Smith Center, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's on ACC Network. FanDuel has the line right now, Carolina minus 15.5. At KenPom, it's 14. At Torvik, it's 18.5. So that's the biggest line of those 3. Here's the fun thing about ETSU that you might not know. East Tennessee State University. It's in Johnson City, Tennessee, which is where Milligan is, that Coach Rob coaches, which is my alma mater, Milligan. And so Milligan's an NAIA school, obviously ETSU, a D1 school, but we would scrimmage them in some stuff. After stepping off the baseball team in college, I ended up playing tennis on the tennis team the rest of the time. And so ETSU's football, they play football in the dome, or they used to. Actually, they don't any now, but they used to. And we had tennis matches in that dome pretty regularly. Man, the ball skipped fast. It was crazy. We had conference tournament in there one time. And so, I mean, it's just a school that I'm very familiar with, have been on their campus tons and tons and tons of times. It's crazy stuff. I used to help lead worship for their campus ministry called The Well at ETSU. So crazy ties in. And so I think this is super fun and cool that Carolina is playing ETSU. Also, because Carolina holds the all-time series record 6-0. The first 4 meetings were all between 1970 and 75, and the other 2 were in 1987 and 2012. So this will make the 7th occurrence and just the second matchup in the 2000s. Their coaches' names, this is awesome. Brooks Savage. I love it. He's in his 3rd season at ETSU. Already told you they're 100th in the net, which makes this a quad 3 game. Again, a bye game, that's quad 3. That's massive. That's really good for Carolina's resume. This game is going to look good there. They're 115th at KenPom, 149th at Torvik. So those 2 computers don't love ETSU as much as the net, but whatever. So ETSU is 8-3 on the season. 2 of those wins are D2 schools. The others are Northern Kentucky, North Alabama, Morehead State, Louisiana Monroe, Central Arkansas, and South Alabama, which is their best win, at least according to the net metrics. Their losses are to Dayton, Austin P, and Presbyterian. That's a quad 4 loss. So that's the worst loss on ETSU's resume. Let me give you their top 8 players. I'll start with the starters. They have played 11 games. ETSU has. This group has started 8 of the last 9 of those. So, and including their most recent game. So it's the group I'm going to give you. Alan Struthers starts at the 1. He's a 6'1" guard, only 3.1 points a game, but he does lead the team with 4 assists a game. At the shooting guard is 6'4" Brian Taylor. He's the team's 2nd leading scorer at 13.7. Also 2nd leading assister at 3.2. At small forward at the 3, Jordan McCullum is 6'8". He is a regular starter, but interestingly, only plays the 7th most minutes for this team at 18.9. So he's a starter, but he only plays 18.9 minutes a game. So just kind of keep that in mind. At power forward, it's 6'8" Cam Morris, who is the team's leading scorer at 14.2. So finally an opportunity where a team's dynamo isn't some guy that Seth Trimble can't guard because he's not playing. This is a guy that it'll be important for Caleb Wilson to keep an eye on and do really well against. So I like that challenge. And then at the 5 is Blake Barkley, a 6'8" player. He is their 3rd leading scorer at 12.2 points a game, obviously matched up against Henri Veesaar. Going to be a little bit different. He's also their leading rebounder at 5 rebounds a game. So Carolina should dominate the glass as well here. The 3 players off the bench you'll see the most is Jalen Smith. I mentioned him earlier. He's 5'11". He was actually on the preseason All-SoCon team, but he's coming off the bench. But even though he doesn't start, he's playing starters minutes. 23.8 a game is third most on this team. 9.8 points, 3.1 assists a game. And then the other 2 main guys off the bench are Mekhi Johnson at 6'4" and Braden Crump at 6'8". So everything said, again, I do believe this is a tougher test for Carolina, but I also believe that both because of Saturday and because of where ETSU is ranked in the metrics, that they will have Carolina's attention. It's going to feel like less of a, in my opinion, it will feel like less of a glorified scrimmage of just trying, James Brown, first sub in the game Saturday. I think we'll see a little bit less of that in this one, but again, one of just kind of 2 opportunities left to try stuff this game in ECU. Obviously, you're not going to do that against Ohio State Saturday down in Atlanta. So my prediction for this game, Tar Heels 80, ETSU 60, yet another opponent under 75 points, all 11 to start the season. All right, guys, that's it for today's show. As a reminder, we will be live tonight after the ETSU game. Make plans to tune in and hang out with us live on YouTube. Would love to see you there. If you've not joined our various programs, the Everydayers Club, Locked on Tar Heels Discord, those links are in the show notes, as is the Locked on Tar Heels Insiders. Really, really good stuff. Want to see you come be a part of any and all of those groups, quite frankly. If you've not subscribed to the show, that's the most important thing, because you want to follow along and not miss a second of Locked on Tar Heels. If you have not done any of those other things, again, great opportunity to do so. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. It's always a great day to be back with all of you. I missed you in real time. Man, what a time to be alive. We'll talk again tonight after the game, but until then, peace.